Hello, this is a video about Halo 5 and my feedback on what I want to see in Halo 5 in the final version. So I know it's a little bit late. The beta ended 3 months ago, but I think 343 still has 6 months to go. So hopefully Halo 5 can change for the better. Um, I apologize, I won't be having gameplay under this commentary because I find gameplay can be distracting from the actual commentary. Oh, and this is going to be very informal, very conversation-like, so I can just get all my thoughts out. So, hit markers. In Halo 5, in the beta, every time you hit someone, you would get a X on the heads-up display, the HUD, and also you get this audio sound effect, the hit marker ping. So I think I'm fine with the X's on your HUD. However, I think the audio sound effect should be removed.
2-on-1.
Because that just clutters up gameplay sounds and interferes with weapon firing sounds. And I feel that weapon firing sounds are really cool and important, so they shouldn't be talked over by other sound effects. So yeah, in multiplayer, keep the visual hit markers, the X's on your HUD, but remove the sound effect, any kind of sound effect for hit markers. Now, in campaign, what I would like to see is no hit markers of any kind. No hit markers on the HUD. That's what I want. So there can still be quote unquote hit markers in campaign, such as blood coming from enemies, enemies flinching when they get shot, or shields reacting. But I don't want hit markers that are displayed on your HUD in campaign, or sound effects for that matter, because multiplayer is a simulation for Spartan training, so it makes sense that Spartans would have some sort of hit marker to know if they got their shot on target. But in campaign is the real thing, right? Campaign is not a simulation. Campaign is taking place in the real Halo world. It's real life. So think about hit markers for a little bit. So hit markers, to get hit markers that would display on your HUD, you either each bullet or grenade would have to have some sort of electronic chip or something installed in it, so that when the bullet hits an enemy, it would relay back to the helmet information that it hit. But the bullet would also have to distinguish whether it hit an enemy, or if it hit anything, or if it hit a piece of the environment. Because if it hit nothing, or if it hit a piece of the environment, then it shouldn't do a hit marker, right? So that would be expensive. And also with grenades. So grenades, when a grenade explodes, it would have to track like each little piece of shrapnel. And again, each piece of shrapnel should be able to distinguish whether it hit an enemy, which, then it's in a hit marker, or if it hit nothing, or if it hit a piece of the environment. So that would be kind of ridiculous. Or to get HUD hit markers, the helmet could track and assess each bullet fired or each grenade thrown. So each bullet fired, the helmet would track that bullet and see whether it hit an enemy, whether it hit nothing, or whether it hit a part of the environment. And only one of those would get a hit marker. hitting an enemy. Same with grenades. The helmet would have to track each grenade thrown and all the grenade shrapnel as a result of the explosion and determine whether the shrapnel hit an enemy, hit nothing, or hit a part of the environment. So again, kind of ridiculous technology just to get these hit markers on your heads-up display. Oh, and also, grenades. Say you throw a grenade behind a wall, and then you don't see the grenade explode, but your grenade hits an enemy, you still get hit markers on your HUD. So how does that work? Does the grenade say, oh, I hit enemies? I know that because I'm a smart grenade. Because your visor your helmet can't see the grenade exploding. So how does it know whether it hit an enemy or not? So the reason why I think there shouldn't be hit markers in campaign is because campaign is not a simulation. Campaign is what happens in the world of Halo, and HUD heads-up display hit markers would be extremely hard to achieve in real life. The technology, yes, I know it's 500 years in the future, but still, the technology is a bit too much just to get hit markers on your HUD. And also, if campaign didn't have hit markers, then the campaign would be more immersive and more realistic. Because, hit markers are things that tell you if you hit your enemy or not. They tell you you're playing a video game. So without hit markers in campaign, yes, you're still playing a video game, but there's not hit markers telling you you're playing a video game. And also it'd be more realistic if there were no hit markers in campaign, because like I said, hit markers would be extremely hard to do in real life. Like soldiers and whatever battle zones they are in probably don't have little white or blue X's around their reticule when they hit an enemy. Because the technology to get those kinds of hit markers would be very expensive and very hard to do. So it would be more realistic if there were no hit markers, because hit marker HUD heads-up display hit marker technology is kind of ridiculous. So campaign would be more realistic as a result of having no hit markers. So, in summary, in Halo 5's multiplayer, I believe there should be the HUD hit markers, the blue X's around the reticule when you hit someone, but there should be no sound effect for hitting an enemy in multiplayer. There's no sound effect, only the visual X's on the HUD. And then for campaign, I would like no hit markers at all. So no X's on the heads-up display and no sound effect for when you hit an enemy. There can be hit markers in campaign, which is like enemies flinching or blood coming out of the enemies or their shields reacting, but no hit markers that are displayed on the heads-up display, and no sound effects to indicate that you've successfully hit an enemy. Alright, thank you for listening.